Confessional time. I was in a hot seat. The fact that I'm having somebody tell me that I can't have female friends that I've been involved with before and still keep them as friends is bogus to me.
What up? What up? What's up, good people? Okay, welcome to the last ranking of the men. All right. Listen, I come to terms with the fact that I can't rank men. Okay. Why? Because I'm a guy. I understand these guys plight a little too much. So it's hard for me to rank men. And plus, I don't have no experience with men. So I decided to do this a different way. I decided to mention all the men, but give the pros and cons to each man. Okay. It's up to the ladies on what your, I guess you could say, poison is. And you can pick your own poison of the men. I don't want to put it like that. I don't consider the brothers poison, but what I will say is pick your own choice on what you can deal with and what you can't deal with. So instead of me putting them in a numerical order, I'm just going to mention some pros and cons, and you can choose amongst yourselves as to what you would be able to deal with or rock out with. All right. Now, all that being said, and make sure you hit the like and you share this and you subscribe to the channel. First on the list is my main man, Dom. Now, some of the pros to Dom is he's a stand-up dude. Okay. He is financially stable. He moves with a certain type of class. He's a builder of the community. He wants to build the community up. Some would say, him wanting kids is a pro, so he's willing to be a father figure if you find that right woman. I think very highly of the dude. I think he's a stand-up dude. I would have liked to gotten to see more of Dom, but I understood that he said he had to go. He had to be some places. He couldn't be there all the time. So he probably didn't have as much camera time as some of the other guys. Now, Dom is one of the guys who interviewed on my show, so I don't want to give him a con, but I have to be fair to the rest of the guys because I gave all the rest of the guys a con. So if I had to give Dom a con, I had to think about it, and I will probably say that the women could probably view him as being a little too relaxed in his approach. Okay. The women will probably think that he is a guy who wants to be chased. I took it as he wanted to be, he was very measured in how he moved, but some women will look at it like, oh no, Dom wants to be chased, this, that, and the third. He is not aggressive enough. So if I had to choose a con, I will probably say that would be it on behalf of what some of the other ladies have been saying. Now, I'm going to come to his defense a little bit because, as you can see, we've seen how a lot of the ladies railroaded a lot of the guys on the show. Zoe railroaded, for good reason, though. Will railroaded. Some will say Chaz railroaded. LaRon railroaded. William railroaded. Okay. And Don came out pretty unscathed as far as, but my point is, the women were not very forgiving to the men. They wasn't too harsh or anything, but they were very judgmental. And I think Dom moved in the way that he did in a very smart way by kind of holding things a little close to the vest, because any information or misunderstanding will get out and the women will run tell that. It's funny that the women was like, oh, what stays in the ladies lounge, what's said in the ladies lounge stays in the ladies lounge, but they don't have no problem letting let negative stuff into the ladies lounge. But if I had to pick a con of Dom, I would say he probably was relaxed, a little too relaxed for some of the ladies, and some say he want to be chased. But shout out to Dom. Another guy is Chaz. Now, Chaz, pros, financially stable. It looks like he's in the gym. Physically, it looks like the ladies like his build. He said he was wealthy. Women always like wealth. So, and he's charming. So, shout out to Chaz for that. So he has a lot of pros. He checked off a lot of boxes for a lot of the ladies in a lot of different ways. He seemed to have planned for a wife. He seemed set for a wife. If he's engaged or not, that's tomorrow on Oprah. But he seems to have a lot of the boxes checked for a lot of the ladies. Charming, endearing, a bit sensitive, nice looking to some of the ladies. Looks to be in shape and got his financial situation together. Probably got A1 credit also. He works at a bank, so he's doing well. He know how to manage the monies. So all of those are pros for Chaz. The cons, he seems to be a bit indecisive when making decisions. He seems to be a little misleading to the ladies. He will say one thing, but he will think or do another. And a third con to Chaz is that he can be, in my opinion, a bit of a peacock. All right. Some women might not look at that as being a con, but to me, it was a con. It was like, do you have to show your tail every chance you get, bro? For real. He seemed a little too sensitive to me too sometimes. I found that to be a little not concerning, but I just found that to be a little odd. But he seemed a little too sensitive sometimes. He kind of want to be pampered by a woman, and I get it. I think a lot of men want to some level, be pampered by a woman in a certain type of way, not in a sensitive way, but maybe in an acts of service type of way, But he was more of a, my feelings was hurt. You should have came and checked on me, and things like that. And that could be a con to a lot of ladies. So yeah, I have him being indecisive, a little misleading, and a bit of a peacock as some of his cons, but he still checks off a lot of boxes in the pros. Y'all ladies, let me know at the end of this video which one of these guys, if you had to pick one. Okay, nobody's perfect. You got to pick a pro and a con. If you have to pick one, which one of these guys would you pick? Just based off, don't put it in the comments, none of them, because I know that's what most of y'all thinking. All right, try to be creative and say, look, G to the head, if I had to pick one of these guys, which one would it be? I think that's way more interesting than somebody saying, "Oh, I wouldn't pick none of them." Okay, that's not interesting at all. Pick one of these guys. Okay, so there you have it with Chaz. William. All right, William Pro. He was a married guy before. He has a big heart. He seems ready to love. All right. That's my view of William. He could be a bit of a teddy bear. He seems easy to get along with. He seemed to have emotional intelligence. He seemed ready to love, and he's a stand-up dude. Okay, trained in the military, take orders, will get your back, and you know he seems to have his intentions in the right place. I liked when that scene when he went in with Maya and he said, "Look, I just want to make sure we're in a good space, or I've been telling you this, that, and the third." I thought that showed a lot of that showed a high EQ on his side to go in there and kind of feel things out and make sure that he was good. I think Will had a big heart. He was making a connection with Patrice as well. And yeah, some of the things he was going through got a little bit of the best of him. But I think he was a stand-up dude, and he just needs that right woman. All right. The con with him is that he do have a little bit of baggage. Okay, he does have 2 divorces behind him. He has some kids behind him. Well, he has some kids, but he has 2 women who divorced him. Who knows why they divorced him? He seems to have a bad picker. He's not very good at picking women. His friend said that, and I can't help but to agree with her, that he seems to have a bad picker. He don't know how to pick women. He needs a matchmaker or something, because the women he is drawn to, I don't know, didn't seem to be drawn to him. I know he was connected with Maya. Maya sort of dropped him like a hot potato, but I think maybe she regretted dropping William. I don't know that for sure, but I think she ended up. I think she may have ended up regretting dropping William for LaRon, and that's a whole different story. But if I had to pick some cons on William, it will be that he has a bad picker. He has two divorces under his belt. It's not a flex. That's not really a good thing. And he has a bit of a troubled history. A part of me wonders if he's dealing with being in the military, if he's dealing with anything too psychologically. I know a lot of military people can carry a lot of mental weight and maybe some trauma, and it could be harder for them to function in society. I'm not saying that that's William. The guy is very high functioning, but if there was something heavy weighing on him, I wouldn't be surprised, but those are the pros and those are the cons. You got a guy who's a stand-up dude with a big heart, but at the same time, most of his past is part of his troubles. Most of his past, meaning his his divorces and the fact that he was adopted. That is a part of a trouble. That's some couch time right there. So shout out to William, though. I thought you was a stand-up dude. Next up is Will. And Will is a guy, I would say his pros is he is very ambitious. Okay. He does seem to have some integrity. He can put his ego to the side. He put his ego to the side to apologize to the ladies. Even though he felt like he was disrespectful, he said, "I'll be a stand-up dude." So I thought that that was honorable of Will, and he is a religious guy who has religious morals. So I think that those are some pretty good pros with Will. Some cons of Will is he seems a little less refined in his approach. Women called it thirsty. That's relative. You know, I wouldn't call the brother thirsty, but some of the women did but they're on that receiving end, so I don't know. But I did put that as a con, and sometimes Will can be a little petty sometimes too. When you go low, he can go lower with you. He was like, "Look, I'm out for war." He tripped me out when he said that. I'm out for war, for whoever said whatever. And then he wanted to find out who said it so bad. Like, but a part of me gets it because your reputation, your image is on the line, and you don't want no ladies trampling on your name because they don't have no problem doing that to the guys. I mean, this is just the male perspective, ladies. This is just the male point of view. But I still think the guy is a stand-up dude, has some integrity, has some morality to him, religious guy, and also very ambitious. I think he's trying to get the bag. Even if he don't got the bag, he's going after the bag. So respect to Will also. Next up is Alonzo. Now, Alonzo is a guy who is very youthful, and that's a pro to him. He's very entertaining. I'll put it that way. He's fun to be with. I mean, Patrice had a ball with him, and they did some fun things. He got on the rodeo. He can act silly. He can let his hair down, literally. And you can have a lot of fun with him. He can be very spontaneous, and he can be the life of the party sometimes, or he could just be, someone, if you want to take your mind off of the hassles of life or the hustle and bustle. Alonzo seems like a pretty good guy to do that with, so, those are the pros of, he got the height that a lot of women like too. So there's a lot of good things working with Alonzo. Now, the cons is yes, ladies, you already know he's immature. Yes, ladies, he is a liar. Yes, he is. He can be a liar sometimes, and he can be dishonest and misleading. So it's funny because Patrice said something very interesting. She said, the devil is fun. The devil is entertaining, and I thought that was an interesting comment. But he can be a little dishonest. The whole thing with the whole, choke the spank was not sexual. Just cut it out. The things about, I've never been with this chick, and then when Patrice say she met with him, and then he was like, "Oh yeah, we did it once." Like, come on, man. So he could be a little dishonest, and he can be a little immature. I think he has. I just think he always tries to uh, look good, and and it's hard for him to take some accountability. So he has to get his maturity up on that. But all in all, a fun guy and a guy who you can really, kind of get your youthful spirit back with. I'm not necessarily surprised that a lot of older women like Lonzo, those that are trying to regain that youth. I could see him being a man for a lot of women who are in their 40s or whatever, older than him, who are trying to regain that youth. I mean, he's like for the lack of a better term, a cougar catch, a catch for a cougar type of chick who wants to get her groove back, like Stella. I could see Alonzo being a good guy for that type of woman. He was also into Layleen. It's funny, he was into the two oldest women on the show. I thought that was interesting. But yeah, there you have it with Lonzo, especially with him being the most immature guy on the show. That's kind of hilarious. But those are the pros and cons of Zoe. Next up is LaRon. All right. LaRon is a financially stable guy. I would consider LaRon a smart guy. I'm not going to hold you. I think he's a pretty bright individual. He got some intelligence about him. He's doing a software thing. He's conspiring to steal women. Like I was saying, I think this brother's like the Lex Luthor of Ready to Love and shit. But he does have some good sides about him. He can be fun. He can be a party guy. He can turn up. He can be financially stable. He said he wants to be a father. He wants to be a husband. So he seems like he's ready to get to a point of settling down. So those are some of the pros. Now the cons is LaRon is, from a male perspective, emotionally unstable. He has a very low EQ. Okay. His EQ is in the toilet, and he lacks a lot of empathy. He can be a little crass, he could be a little rude, he could be disrespectful, he could be cunning, he could be a lot of those things, and this is why they were calling him a snake. Okay. And it's funny because Alexis said that he's the biggest snake on the show without a doubt, and she wasn't even the one who said it. It was William who said it. So we could put that in the con category too, that he could be a snake. Some might say with LaRon, the cons outweigh the pros. I don't know. I don't. Maybe we haven't gotten to see more of LaRon a little bit. I just think that the guy is. I do think he's leaning a little too heavy on the con side, if I'm being honest. But I don't want to put the brother down too much. I think he's trying his best. I don't know if he was an only child. If he was an only child, that will have some kind of repercussions in how a person moves. They never got to learn how to get along with other people. They never learn how to empathize or sympathize with somebody else. They never learn how to communicate on a level that is fair, as being, you can kind of take into consideration how the other person is feeling. All of those things that plague the only child syndrome, because that is a real syndrome. but I think he wants to be a father. He oh yeah. Another con is he called women out their name. I know women were like, "You ain't gonna mention that." Yeah, he reckless with the mouth. He'll call women out their name. Um, and I don't want to hear this whole "I'm from Jersey" stuff. Y'all soft down in the South, but I'm from Jersey. We keep it real. We tell her how it is. That's all BS, bruh. But again, I don't want to weigh too heavy on his cons. I think he has some good pros. Being financially stable, being a fun guy to kick it with, and wanting to be a husband and a father. I think those are pretty good pros, but he just got to figure out how to manage his emotions, his ego, and learn how to put his mouth in check and not blurt out every little thing that comes to his mind, because it ain't working out too well for him. All right. He probably let, I don't want to say the love of his life go, but he let a pretty good woman in Maya go. Good woman is relative, to be honest, but still, I think he needs to do some work on that. Next up is Jonathan. All right, pro to Jonathan is he's an even keel guy. You kind of know what you're getting with him. He seems like he's a stand-up dude. He was once a husband. And he seems to still be husband material. I don't know what happened to his last marriage, but I could tell that he wants to be a husband again, and he wants to find the right woman, but he's dealing with some things. So the cons to Jonathan is he is very guarded. A part of me feels like Jonathan has been damaged in past relationships to the point where he don't trust women. He just don't trust women. He don't trust telling them certain types of information. He don't trust opening up all the way emotionally. He don't trust giving you, like I say, too much information. And another con to John is he can be even unpredictable. Even though he's even keel, he can be unpredictable, like what happened with him and Alexis. Maybe when he drinks, he gets a little unpredictable, and you don't know what's going to happen with this guy. He said he was drunk and wasted when that happened. So he can come off a little unpredictable when you least expect it. So those are the cons, that he's still a little too guarded, which shows some pain from the past, and he is unpredictable. But he's still an even keel guy. He's still a guy, I think, that wants to be a husband again, and I think he's ready to love. I just think that the women that he was feeling, because he wasn't feeling many women there, but the women he was feeling, he didn't get connected to. Alexis was one of them, and that he kind of messed that up, being drunk, and then Laylan, and then she left. So it kind of left him out, out by himself, trying to figure things out until they let him go. But Jonathan, I think, is a good guy, but those are his pros and his cons. Next up is Justin. All right. Justin is his pros is he's a smooth guy, easy to get along with. The women seem to be attracted to him. He seems to be even keeled, even tempered for the most part. I started to question that a little bit with the whole Alexis thing, but I must still say that he's even tempered for the most part. Uh, cool guy. You can have fun with him. Got a sense of humor. Uh, Practically everything as far as personality wise that you could probably ask for in a guy, women could ask for in a guy. Okay. Um, as far as the cons, Justin seems a little misleading a little bit. You know, sometimes he'll say stuff, it seems like to a certain type of woman, maybe trying to get in a favor or whatever. He can be a little ambiguous too, a little mysterious. You know, he could say, "Look, I need more than 4 to 6 hours. I need my time alone." Um, you don't know, you know, he'll say, you know, "I want kids to one woman. I don't want kids. I can live without kids with another woman." He seems a little slippery a little bit, you know, and that's just being a smooth player. Them smooth players tend to be that way. Um, but I think a lot of his pros will outweigh his cons. I think he's a pretty decent guy, stand up dude, real smooth, real easy to get along with, not very argumentative, seemed to have some emotional intelligence. One thing I liked that he did was he went to Rashina when she was down and out, when Chaz left, and he was like, "Look, I want to, you know, say this, that, and the third. Want to thank you from welcoming me into the process. You'll always have a place in my heart. This, that, and the third." So he got some props for me for doing that. Did he do it under his own volition? I don't know, but he did it. So I thought that showed a little EQ. And I think in order to get close to Shamika, you have to have a high level of emotional intelligence, because she was a hard shell, and he found a way into that soft inner pause, right? But you know, I think he's a stand-up dude. So, you know, there you have it with Justin's pros and cons. Next up is Lamar. Uh, you know, Lamar is a honest guy. He's a transparent guy. He's a guy who kind of shoots from the hip. You don't necessarily have to guess what Lamar is thinking. Lamar is going to tell you. Good, bad, indifferent, whatever the case may be, he's going to tell you. So he's a guy who is really, you know, very transparent. You know, the con to him is he could be a little, you know, one-minded when it comes to the, you know, sexual stuff. It could be a little, you know, a little too crass when it comes to that. He could be a little loud. He could be a little rude. Have no filter. That's one thing about Lamar, is that he has no filter. Well, you know, that could be good and bad depending on the person that's listening to him. Some people like a frank person, a person who shoots straight from the hip, tell it like it is, whatever. And some people like, look, you could throw a filter on that muzzle for me. Could you do that for me, please? And deliver the message a different type of way. You know, running through your filter, bruh. You know, but I think Lamar is a good guy, but he is an acquired taste. I'm not gonna hold you. He's an acquired taste. There's a certain type of woman that can only deal with Lamar, and that's a woman who is probably as crass or as unfiltered as he is. That's the person that's probably can understand his level of communication is a woman who is just as transparent and unfiltered as he is. I don't know if he know that, but that's the type of guy Lamar is. But and there you have it with Lamar. Now the two guys that I don't have enough information on is DeMonte and Glenn. I don't have enough information on those guys. I'm sure they're stand-up dudes. I'm sure they are guys who also have some pros and cons, but I don't know what those are just because I didn't get enough time with them. But ladies, put it in the comments of those guys. G to the head. You got to pick somebody. Which one of those guys would you pick? Which one of those poisons would you drink? Which one of those would you? Now, saying none of them, that is not interesting, that is boring, that is predictable. Don't put that in the comments. Only put in the guys that you said, you know what, with how I'm built, G to the head, I will pick this guy and rock out with him. Put him in the comments. I really would like to see that. And there you have it with my last, I guess you could say, ranking of the men. It's not necessarily a ranking because I don't date men, but I thought I'd put those pros and cons out there. Let me know what y'all think about that. I will be coming out with I will be ranking the women, and I'm talking about body, face, and personality, and who I will get on one knee and propose to first. My final wifey ranking. Okay, check that video out, coming soon. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, hit the like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. And don't forget to watch the other show of what is that? The Never Ever Mets. I'm doing that too. So look out for that. Thanks again. Peace.